Okay, says the cloud. All right, so the Maimon begins with the shaila that there's a contradiction in the pasuk. First he says kolchem the klal, and then he enumerates the various levels. So who is he addressing? Klal Yisrael as a klal, or Yidden individually in their individual classes and levels. It's a shaila in contradiction in the pasuk and in the mitzias. The question becomes stronger, considering that even though externally there's no connection between the parashas and Yom Tovim, there's no connection. If we read the Torah from Bereshis to Simchas Torah, and that's it. But Hashgacha Pratis, always obviously there's a connection between the parasha and the calendar, even though again externally there's no connection. So here too, Kiyadua, that we always read Parshas Nitzovim before Rosh Hashanah for many reasons. And it's hinted to in the pasuk also, because the word Hayom, in another pasuk in Iyov, there the Targum says, the story there with Iyov, that Hayom was Yom Din Rabbah, Rosh Hashanah. Hence the allusion here that Atem Nitzovim Hayom, it's not only that there's a shayches in Teuchen between the parasha and Erev Rosh Hashanah, there's also a remez in the pasuk itself. Not always do we see that. There's a remez in the pasuk to its place in the calendar, in the word Hayom. And therefore the question is stronger, because the avodah of Rosh Hashanah is the avodah word of Kel Pashut, of which is Hayom B'Shofer. This is the tzayik pshuta, the simple cry in Bekel Pashut, where there's no differentiation, no ischalkos. It's from a deeper place in the nefesh where there's division. And at that level, of course, all Yidden are the same. As he goes on to say, that the whole avodah of Rosh Hashanah is etzem and neshama, and that explains the difference between the Kabbalah Sel of Rosh Hashanah, the Kabbalah Sel year round, which is an inyan prati. As we engage the different avodas of every day of the week, it's different. Every day, every moment of the day is a different avodah. A different Kabbalah Sel is required. It's one Kabbalah Sel when you daven, it's not a Kabbalah Sel when you're out there in business. It's not the same Kabbalah Sel. And you have to be cognizant of what you're doing. That's the whole avodah, is daven properly. And now you're in business where you should look, where you shouldn't, that you speak, honest. But Rosh Hashanah is not about pratim. It's not about pratisdik and mitzvahs. It's about melech, period. Kabbalah Sel, the etzem connection. So the question becomes stronger, therefore, that since it's Hayom and Kulchem, so why does he go on to say Roshechem Shiftechem? The good of the answer is Yichud Havai Elikim. And not only is the Avodah Yichud Havai Elikim, but the Iker Avodah is in the Kelim. And that's Beif and Kloli here. But he says at the end of the Maimon, the end is missing, so we don't really have the full story. But at the end of the Maimon, he says that Atem Nitzovim, that's the Malamayla Lamata Yichud. There's the Yichud Malamata Lamayla, or the Ikar Avodah on the, it comes out L'chuda. The Ikar Avodah is in the Kalim, but here not the ascent, the bittul of the Kalim to higher, changing their nature. That's the mandate. It seems from the end of the mind, again, we don't have the whole thing, that this pasuk is speaking, however, also the lachar is the amshocha of the etzem lamata, the bittul in the oiris. The main mandate is the bittul of kalim, but here is the bittul of oir. That oir by its nature is transcendent. Kulchem etzem nefesh is not given to expression. So you have to bring the etzem nefesh down into Roshechem Shiftechem. That's the culmination of the avodah, or the achana to the avodah. Again, we're missing the end of the Maimon, so it's a little bit difficult to give anything defined. Pardon, speak up.
What's the bittul of the R?
That's nimshach l'mata. You didn't learn the Maimon, so you're going to see it. Okay, okay. As we go through it now, you'll understand what I'm saying. This is in hindsight, trying to understand the answer to the question. It's not 100% clear. Again, because the end of the Maimon is missing. But the ikar of the Maimon is the body of the Maimon. So to understand this, we have to preface the whole unit of Avodah. The Zohar says, what's Avodah? to know Havaya Hu Elikim. This is Pikuda, this mitzvah, Kadmo L'chol Pekudin, precedes all mitzvahs, all commandments. And it has to be known, B'frat B'chlal. There's some diaki, which is the klal, which is the prat. He brings two psukim, the Zohar in the Hemshech over there. One pasuk negates is Mitzrayim. Then you know Hashem Elikim, and the other pasuk V'daita Yoim Parshas Veschanan. Hashem Elikim yet Havayu Elikim. Okay. The general thrust of this is we have to know that it's kol echad. That's the whole avodah. That's the summary. Sheklolis in avodahu hayediyah davay lekim kol echad. So the question is, what does this mean? How could it possibly be that avay lekim is all one? They're opposites. Havay is rachamim, bligvul, infinite lekim is tzimtzum and dinim, helen v'hester. So much so. All the Helen has all the way to Teva, like Teva. They're not just different, he says, therefore they're opposites. So how is it possible that it's kol echad? The same is also true, the same Shaila, Eiris and Kalim, because that's what Eir is expression of Havai, and Kalim, Elikim. They too are opposites. They're going in two different directions. There's an answer to the question now that you're asking. That the Tnuah of Eir is, as the pasuk says, Ruach ha'odam ba'ila l'mayla. The nature of light is to diffuse, not to be contained. Its very nature is not non-containment. We were saying the chiddush of the laser beam, which is this gala in the last days of Mashiach's coming. That's because this is the kavanah. Is that the Eir should be nimshach in Kalim, and what happens? It's even more powerful in the Kalim. The contraction of the Eir makes it more powerful. That's the Gashmius, and the scientific discovery is a reflection of this kavanah pnimius, that the Eir should not diffuse, but be nimshach in the pnimius. And the nature of Keli is ruach habeimah here, that's lamata. The nature of a behemah, the Keli is containment. So what's the avoid? So that's the shaila. So they're opposite. The opposite. One tnuah is ascent, the other one is descent. One tnuah is transcendence, the other one is immanence. They're incompatible fundamentally. So what does it mean, Havai Elikim? How could it be? That's the shaila of the Maimon. To understand the whole Avodah. So he begins to explain this by looking first at Eilam HaTikun, because Eilam HaTikun, as implied by the word Tikun, fixing. Eilam HaTikun is Bechlolos, this is what the Avodah is. But then we'll see that Eilam HaTikun, Atzilus is still not Tachlis HaKavana, as we'll see. But that's where Avodah, or the goal, or the desired state is achieved, as opposed to Eilam HaToyim. What's the end of Eilam HaTikun? So he says, the pasuk says, Kishemesh Magen Havaya Elikim. Havaya is the Shemesh, and Elikim is the Magen. Now, looking there, Bagashmius, what's the point of the Magen? To eclipse no more sun, finished with the sun. The point of the Magen is that the Makabel should be able to receive the light of the sun. So the Kavon of Shem Elikim, like with respect to Shem Havaya, is in fact that Shem Havaya should be revealed. That's nice, but they're opposites. What does it mean? So the Inyan is, since they're opposites, so how is it possible that Shem Havaya should be revealed through Shem Elikim? But Gashmi is okay. The Shemesh is not bleakful. It's very powerful. So it's filtered through the sheath around the sun. So good. So now the rays of the sun can be beneficial. But to begin with, it's Gvul. Here we're talking Havaya. And Havaya is Mr. Bligvul, Shem Elikim, is like the Magen that allows Gvul cannot receive Bligvul. It's one of the two. When the two encounter, one has to be totally give way to the other. Either Bligvul dominates and Gvul shatters, and that's the end of Gvul, or Gvul dominates and Shem Havaya, Bligvul is eclipsed, not let in, not welcome. So what does it mean? So we have to say, he comes in a kuddet, heart of the Maimon. It's in the middle, if you want to look at it, you have the oil system, the middle of this base. This is the essence of it. In truth, they're not opposites. They're only opposites in their overt identity. But the premise, they're not. Why? Because they come from one Eibishter. And the Eibishter has one kavanah. And that kavanah, which is dir b'tachtonim, carries through and is present in all of his expressions. Not obviously, but latent.
So there's no such thing as opposites there?
No, there isn't. Ultimately, no. The whole avodah is to reveal that truth. Quite so. That's the whole avodah. And the bigger the opposites, the bigger the avodah. And the truer or the deeper the expression of truth is expressed. Huh? Yeah, Gavil Michol up there. Yeah, it's everywhere. In all of Ishtalshalis. But the point of the Maimon is going to be that in Atzilus, Gavil Michol, which is Bria, but even in Atzilus actually, and there is unity over there. No, it's not such a big chiddush. Because there's not such a resistance. It's forth, it's Giluyim, even Mamala Kalam is also Oir. The whole Avodah is Dafke Malchus. And in Malchus itself, not Malchus in Atzilus, Malchus, Ragler Yedis Moves, as Malchus descends into Biyah, in Helen Vahested, in Gvul, in Golus, in complete Keli, in concealment, we don't know of Oir. What are you talking about? Where forest dwellers in often the Cheshech, the Melech comes, don't even know what he's talking about and who he is. No one's interested. And here to be Megala, in this Gvul, that you are a Likus Be'emes, or your whole being expresses a Likus, that's the whole Avodah. That's the mandate. That's the, from clearly what the Maimon is saying. However, the big however is that the chiddush of the avodah is not just in the keli, that you thought you were gvul. No, you are a creation of atzmos, and therefore you're not limited to your akbala, and you can reveal bli gvul, and that's your whole kavanah. And that's what you're looking for, in fact. It's your pnimius, and therefore you're restless. The world is restless because it's looking for God. But the chiddush is even the oir. The chiddush is the oir too, that namely the oir by its nature is giloi, shrai ebishter. No. The oir wants to say, eined mulvadai, which in the sense of the, rephrase that. Oir wants to say, and does say, there's no world. There's no world. No. Oir has to say, there is a world and still eined mulvadai. Say that in the world. Say that in Akbola. That's the chiddush of the oir. The way it's a bigger chiddush. But that comes like kind of after the avodah, and again a little bit stucky because Atem Nitzovim is pre-avodah. So it could be the final kavanah. I don't know. Then the Maimon is not here. It's I have to look up all the other sources, which I did not. Maybe we'll find more explanation there. But what the Maimon is telling us, the Maimon is telling us. I'm not going to understand everything, but we have to understand what we're being told here. And that is that the chiddush is in the oir too, as I said before, that oir, which is bligvul, which in its own world can't be mitzias and there's no hakbola, can't be. Now say that, reveal that in hakbola. Bring your pshitus and your oir and your in hakbola. It's a bigger chiddush even than the surrender of the keli to higher. So why is it a bigger chiddush? On many levels. First of all, but on a simple level, because the keli, like that's they said before, the keli is restless anyway. No one's satisfied. More and more doesn't help. There's a drive. The oir is beautiful. It's oir is spashtus. It's boundless. It's free. It's Eibishter. It's hecher from Welt. Stuck in Welt. It's a beautiful world. It's easy to verbringen his whole life. It's beautiful. And if I bring it's easy to scream by the oil. That's easy. Now scream in Welt. Oh, it's harder. It's how the Nefesh Abam is being told, you're a behemoth, and you're not even happy being a behemoth, so become a mensch. Okay, break it through, resistance. But at the end, the behemoth submits to the there's horse whisperers. There's a way to talk to the behemoth that he doesn't touch a big fight either. It's what he wants, and he wants to go along with it, and he wants to be bridled, ridden. He resists, but it's not such a big resistance at the end. The Chitzonis is the terrible resistance. The Pnimi is not such a big avodah. The big avodah is the Oir. The Hilikiyid. That's the bigger challenge. Okay, so let's continue following. Please follow along in the mind what we get. As I'm almost translating, just getting the flow of it. So again, the heart of the mind is mizem moving sheba mitis in yonom einam beis afachim. In truth, they're not opposites. This that oir is aliyah. That's not the ambitis and kavana pnimis of the oir. The kavana pnimis says that the oir should be nimshach lamata down here, and not in a way that overwhelms the mata and pales a bit on the makablim, but it should be settled, and the makabel should say einad mulvada. Or rephrase that, you should say it there. And this is the difference between the Oir HaTikun and the Oir Toyo, because Toyo is bligvul, and therefore there's no Yashvas in Kalim. That's not the Kavan. And he brings the illustration of two ways that the Melech has revealed. Two ways that the king reveals his glory. One is, and doesn't reckon with the recipients at all. Everybody's just blown away. Bitla makablim. That's one way. That's not the kavanah. The kavanah is that he reveals his glory in such a way that the makablim grasp it, internalize it, and it's their world. It's their world. The Melech is their world, not that they're surrendered to his. And that's what we say, Gali Kved Malchuscha. We say in Tfilas Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, reveal the glory of your kingship, V'yeda Kolpol Kiyata Piyalta. That the pole, which goes on the Vrema Tachtoinim, that which you brought into being, should know that you brought it, you effected it. With the E. He's a nivra, and nonetheless he should know the yeda kipol kiata pialta v'yovenko yitzur kiata yitzartoi, right? V'yemer kol Hashem neshama v'yapei Hashem l'kisol melech ha'malchus sebakel m'sholah. That's the nekuda of Rosh Hashanah, nekuda of halaveda. So therefore, it continues a lot of nuance, which is we have to break our heads over to understand. It seems the kavanah pnimis in the oiris, there should be bisyashvas and kalim to reveal einad mulvada to and in the keli. Therefore, he has to be invested and nimded and expressed in the keli. So the kavanah pnimius of the oir in summary is there should be nimshech in a pnimius, in kelim, in gvul. Likewise, the mitzad kelim in shem alikim, the kavanah is not gvul per se, not the yerid and hell of a hester. Where do we see this? First of all, shem alikim is one of the holy names of God that can't be erased. So the kavanah is not concealment per se. The kavanah is pnimius, that in them the oir should be nizgala, and therefore they grasp the oir and they reveal it because that's the kavanah pnimius, and that's havaya lekim kol echad. What we're saying yesterday, what we need to think about is these two. The end result is the same, right? So what exactly is the difference What the end result is the fusion of gvul and bli gvul. But there's two ways of doing this. There's l'mayla mata l'mata l'mayla. So to think and to understand, what is it navayda?
What's the two different ways? How does it work?
Whether the oil comes down and pearls in the gvul havaya lekim, or the gvul is l'mata l'mayla surrenders to the oil and the gvul screams havaya lekim. End result is it's one havaya lekim gilu atzmus.
Then the result is a submission of the cave.
That's the second one. That's the second life.
Even from the other life, it's still l'mayla mata, but the result is now the cave is
Right, yeah. So there's
submitting to this.
exactly. So the end result's the same. So what exactly is the difference? It's a huge difference. Whether it's l'mayla l'mata l'mata l'mayla. Into the mind, Atem Nitzovim is the l'mayla l'mata way. That kulchem is nimshechin. That comes after the bittul, the main avoida with the keli, l'mata l'mayla. So I don't think it's the answer is not it's fairly obvious, but I want people to think about this. If we think about it and we understand the difference, we can embark on the avoida. The avoida is, he said, the mandate is milamata l'mayla. That's the world we're starting. We're guf and nefesh habahamis. That's our consciousness. We have a neshama in us, but that's our avoida. So, but understand the difference. What does it mean? The avodah mitzad the mata, the aliyah mitzad the mata, or the amshachim b'lamayla in the gvul. To think about it, and it's on people to share at the Fabrengen Mitzvah Shabbos. But to think about it further, to learn further, and then sit back and think about it. And what does this mean? What does this mean to me? So let's continue. So Shem Elikim is, again, it's one of the holy names of Hashem. Because the Kavanah Pnimius is Elikus, through which godliness should be revealed. It's all Kavanah Achas. So this is the way it's Olam HaTikun. Where does this first begin to manifest the Kavanah, the template of the divine intent is Olam Atzilus, Olam HaTikun. Toihu, there's no integration. When Chesed is revealed, then Gvura is shattered. If Gvura is revealed, Chesed is shattered. This is into the Psukim describing Esav's kings. Vayimlich, Vayamas, he ruled, he died, he ruled, he died, he ruled, he died. No integration. Peaks of separation, in the words of the Zohar. Ture de Pruda, peaks, lofty levels, mountains, but of separation. In other words, the relative bli gvul, because chesed is gvul, but it's relatives. There it's bli gvul chesed and bli gvul gvul. Whereas in tikkun, this integration and iskalulus, and the fact that there is, and he says, again, he repeats the fact that in the iskalulus elamat tikkun, that the oir grasps, the keli grasps the oir, and the oir is revealed in whatever way it's revealed in the keli, it's understood that b'kavanah pnimis, it's all one. And that is the avodah. The avodah is, he spells it out at the end of this paragraph, to pale by the kelim, that although naturally their nature is descent, behema, no, should be aliyah. And the kavanah is to pale on the oir, that by its nature is transcendence and diffusion, whatever the word is there. It should be mamshocha b'sashvus and kelim. So the chayre, good, Olam Atzilus is the kavanah already, where we're going further. Done, achieved, beautiful, integrated world. Yeah, Yichad Havai Lakim is Olam Atzilus already. So what now? That he addresses not here, like a little bit later. Okay, it's more Lichas first. Huh?
If it's talking the whole kavanah, this relationship of ours again, then okay, it's not Atzilus.
Yeah, that's the Shai's going to explain.
Then it can't be the whole kavanah.
It's not. Yeah. Why not? Ask why not. I'm asking why isn't it? In the words of Leonard Cohen, because you want it darker. Pashut. The gvul is not enough. The gvul ve'elam atzilus. He says this later, not here. But let's wait till we get that. First, now, having established that kavanah is the yichud, and therefore, then he says, he just finished saying, the kavanah is to be pale both on the oil and the keli. Oil should be nimshach, and keli should ascend. However, we're saying, well, the mandate is kelim. The and the oil will happen later. But the focus of avodah is, he spells it out, the neshama is the oil. And it comes into the guf, the shabamis, which is kelim. So it's also, not also, ultimately, as we said 2 days ago yesterday, ultimate kavan is taka the neshama, not the guf. However, that's only achieved when it's not about you. Fix the guf. The mandate is the guf. The words of the h'tשכ quoted in Tanya Preglam Mazayan neshama atzma einatzich tikun. Doesn't have to be fixed, and the whole yirid is in order to fix the guf nefesh bahamis. It doesn't have to be fixed, but I just said a moment ago the kavanah is the neshama. So it's mevurach siddur. Fixed? No, not broken. But the ultimate aliyah, yeah. You're not broken, you're perfect, beautiful. But there's more than fixing something that's broken. That's the main work, is to fix what's broken. But in the end, what's broken is good nefesh bahamis. You did the lamata and aveis and golos and everything else. But in the end, pnimis hakavon is the aliyah and the neshama. It's not fixing it. It's the connection. It's the relationship. He had a nice relationship with God. It's very nice. Atzilus is a beautiful world. Nobody wants to leave. But at the end, the neshama coming down the mata really learns what it means to have a connection to Hashem and really discovers God. So that's not a tikkun. It's not tikkun. That's taking a relationship to a whole new level. Whereas the guf's got to be fixed, and that's the mandate. Avoid is the tikkun of the guf nefesh bahamis. That is what the thousands of years of avodah is all about. That's our focus, and that's the whole avodah. Kabbalah soil, and then engaging the world, and then refining the body. Likewise, the ma'ila, the avodah is a tikkun hakelim. And then he says this, the word here, through the tikkun hakelim, they become royu to the oir, the mela is nisgala in the oir, it's kavanah pnimius, that it should be revealed down here. And it's further meditation. Could be a key to our question a little bit too. Say what I'm thinking, from the words here, I'm sharing just aloud, we're learning together here. B'meilim is galaba. It's not saying there's an avodah in the b'meilim. If you do the avodah with the guf and the tikkun nefesh bahamis, then b'meilim is nizgala. Before it sounded like it's more than a derech b'meilim, it's an avodah. And I have to think about this further. But at any rate, this is clear. The ikar avodah is the tikkun hakelim, that they should be bebitul or barotzoi to the oir, refine ourselves to live higher, to live more refined lives, edelkeit, ruchnius, elikos, tikkun the guf nefesh bahamis, they should be bebitul barotzoi. That's how his base ends. Let's go a bit further. Now we're looking at his gimel, and all the beautiful arichas now, in the avodah with the keli. Which he says there are 3 dargas. And these 3 dargas are expressed every Shabbos. The Shabbos is what? That all of creation has its aliyah, becomes incorporated in the likur. So there's 3 dargas. Right? This is Behemshech to a few Maamarim ago. It's Friday night and Shabbos day, and And yeah, Raiva deriving. Desire within desire. So what is that? What's happening? What's the Aveda? What is being achieved in these three stages? No, you want to help me here? Look, page Mem Gimel. It's a third ois. Friday night is a bitter what? What kind of aliyah is bitter oichal? Soilers. Coming from the weekday, we're coming from the engagement in an unholy world. So we've extracted the sparks from where? From waste, from soilers. That's one level of aliyah. This is the whole beer, the menucha, right? Menucha be'etzim, a menucha is a result of completing a job well done. To the three dargas, the same meaning here. Menuchoscha, that's tafke, as it goes on to say now. So the Shabbos day, however, is a higher bitter oicha metoich oicha. This is Gan Eden Tachten, Gan Eden Elyon. Remember, right? Nahar, the two kinds of Nahar Dindur, the river of fire. Gedenkst, everybody remembers. The river of fire that Neshama has to undergo, coming from Elam Hazah. That's analogous to Eichel Metoich Pselis, food from waste. What's another word? A better word. Akoponim, then there's another river of fire, another aliyah, that's Eichel Metoich Eichel. In Kedusha Guf, and Gadeid Natach, and Gadeid Elyon, that's Shabbos day. Higher aliyah, in Kedusha Gufa. And then the Raivin is higher than the whole, Birurim altogether. That's the connection to the Etzem, which is why B'Primius, the emphasis is not on physical food anymore, because we're not extracting and refining the world anymore. Hayoim loy, like the Remes in the means Hayoim Yoim, that the third Suda is not a Suda Gashmi. It's a Tainuk Gruchni. Atzmistik a Tainuk. Being there, not engaged in any kind of activity. It's being there. So what are these three in Yonim and Aliyas HaKelim? He says as follows. Okay, we'll stop here and we'll continue that. I mean, you don't mind that we're taking a little bit of time here because we won't understand. We're just pointing out that Slicha, I didn't realize again that Slichas is Motzei Shabbos. So first of all, again, the Fabeng will be Motzei Shabbos. Secondly, I want to start the next Maimer. Tavshich Beis looks like a beautiful, beautiful Maimer, Rosh Hashanah Maimer. So next week, Chassidus will be 6 o'clock, sharp, and Slicha 6:30. And if we do that, Be'ez Hashem, we should complete the Maimer. Listen, no, it's just not. You come to Rosh Hashanah, you have to come in with the head filled, and a new Maimer. Shabbat also wants to get excited, something new. You can learn a Maimer we learned already, but there's also an inyan to know more and learn more. Aside from we by nature want to learn new things, but it's also a commandment to learn more. Okay, so next week, in Mitzvah Hashem, 6 o'clock, starting Monday.